Welcome. Welcome atheists, agnostics, secular humanists, whatever you like to call yourself, you are welcome here. At Seattle Atheist Church, we call ourselves an atheist church because you will never hear anything supernatural promoted from the podium. I'd like to share with you the Seattle Atheist Creed. Seattle Atheist Church was founded on the principles of scientific naturalism and secular ethics. Truth claims are attempted here, and we stand ready to revise our thinking in light of new information. We attempt to be excellent to all conscious beings, and we believe in good because good works in non-mysterious ways. If that sounds about right to you, then you are probably in the right place. So the first thing I want to do is I want to thank everyone who came to the Saturday Secular Social yesterday. It was a lot of fun, and we're going to continue having that the third Saturday of the month. I want to invite everyone to our planning meeting, which is going to take place on March 12th, and that will be led by Jack. It's an agile style planning meeting where everyone gets to suggest ideas for topics and for socials, and then we vote on it. So you are invited to that. I also want to thank everyone who has made donations to Seattle Atheist Church, and I want to call everyone's attention to the fact that you can donate in person. Right over there we have a jar where you can drop donations if you would like to do that. And also if you want to swipe a card, then Jack, who's sitting right there, always has a little card reader, or you can do it at seattleatheist.church. So we use those to pay for having this. So we really appreciate people who help pay for that. Yeah. And on the planning meeting on March 12th, we're probably going to switch up some things having to do with the children's church. So we have a lot of stuff that we're looking forward to talking about at the planning meeting. So I wanted to share with you today the words of Rabbi Sherwin Wine. So Rabbi Sherwin Wine founded the first congregation of Humanistic Judaism in 1963. Wine was the founder of several humanist organizations that are not specifically Jewish, such as the Humanist Institute and the International Association of Humanist Educators, Counselors, and Leaders. And he's the co-founder of Americans for Religious Liberty, which promote the separation of church and state. He has written many books, but one of them is called Celebration, a Ceremonial and Philosophical Guide for Humanists and Humanistic Jews. And I will propose on March 12th that it would make an excellent small group study guide or study text if people would be interested in that. It's wonderful even if you're not culturally Jewish. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you from something he wrote, which was a reflection on his life, and I'm going to read from the section called Believers. And unfortunately, I think that legally, because we're recording this and showing it on YouTube, I have to do read his words and then kind of give a little commentary. And his words are so eloquent, so forgive me for the fact that I'm going to be interrupting his words with my commentary, but I have to do it that way. So, believers. Most secularists live with the designation of non-believers. They accept this label that their enemies give them. They also live up to the label. When strangers ask them what they believe, they always answer negatively. They prefer to tell others what they don't believe rather than what they do believe. Since God is usually associated with believers, they announce they do not believe in God. So one of the things when we started Seattle Atheist Church, the biggest pushback that we got was often from atheists themselves. And a lot of atheists' attitude is, well, atheists don't believe in God, so what is the point? What do you have to create a Seattle Atheist Church around? There's nothing really there. Maybe you're humanism, But the thing is that we live in a culture where 93% of Americans profess to believe in God or some kind of higher power. So I would argue that if you are that small majority who is willing to stand up and say that you don't, that there is something pretty special just about being in this group. And so that alone is a reason to get together and to talk with each other. Negative answers are never as effective as positive answers. They always define you against the beliefs of others. Your opposition has beliefs. You do not. Having no connection is a weakness. It is also an impossibility. All people act on their understanding of the world, whether they can articulate this understanding or not. But they are easily intimidated into being non-believers, especially when an aggressive majority tells them that they are. All right, so in fact, I think it's next week we have a talk on leaving religion and its experience of different people who were part of faith communities and left those faith communities. And I think that when you first become, if you are leaving a faith community, when you first become aware that you don't believe, it can be really scary, because it's like now all of a sudden I'm apart from the group. And you start off just knowing what you don't believe, but maybe you haven't thought so much yet about what you do believe. And so that's the idea that other people will tell you, that you don't have a moral compass. You don't have a purpose for your life. And so don't allow yourself to be intimidated into being told that you are a non-believer. From the beginning, negative answers have dogged our movement. Non-believers have nothing positive to offer anybody. But the reality is that humanists and humanistic Jews are loaded with beliefs. Beliefs about the universe, about people, and survival. While they have strong beliefs, they do not have absolute beliefs. And I just want to kind of call out the similarity there between that and our creed, where we say truth claims are attempted here, and we stand ready to revise our thinking in light of new information. The way that that line made its way into our creed is that we read a book called Leaving Their Religion, I think, Leaving Religion, and it was about the clergy project, basically. So priests and ministers who left their churches because they realized that they didn't share their faith anymore, and they said in the book that when they talked to clergy who no longer had faith but were actually still preaching, a lot of them said, well, the pulpit is about pathos. It's not about logos, it's about pathos. It's about making people feel things. Truth claims aren't attempted. And so we took that and we said, well, if we had a banner, it would say, truth claims are attempted here. Our minds are open to revise our convictions on the basis of new experience and new evidence. Saying that we do not believe in God is less effective than saying we believe in people. Saying that we do not believe in faith is less effective than saying we believe in reason. Saying that we do not believe in the importance of Torah does not work as well as saying we believe in the importance of Jewish literature and Jewish culture. Sometimes negative answers are unavoidable, but they must never become a lifestyle. Positive answers are personal. They do not establish invidious and assaultive comparisons with others. They strengthen connections because they make us aware of them. They strengthen self-esteem because we are affirming who we are and not who we are not. And so my only commentary there is that we believe in people, we believe in reason, and we believe in culture, literature and culture, both Jewish and many different types of literature and culture, and to strengthen the connection between people. With positive answers, we feel less vulnerable and less subject to intimidation. And I think that when you go home for the Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, and it's revealed that you're an atheist, I had someone in my family who outed me as an atheist to my evangelical Christian family. And, you know, if what people get from you is that you don't believe, then it sets them up to be defensive. But if they are at least curious enough to ask you what that's about, and then you can start saying, well, you know, I believe, what I actually did with one of my cousins is I sat her down and we watched one of Jack's talks, and then the one on death and grieving, and then it was like, oh, okay, I can see what you're doing there. So it is important to remember that we are believers. If there are non-believers, they belong to the opposition. To be a believer requires hard work. We have to stop thinking of ourselves as only respondent to the opinions of others. We have to look at our behavior and induce the convictions that govern it. We have to sort through all of our negative responses to life and discover what it is that we do value, respect, fear, and love. We have to discipline our speech, choosing to avoid assaults on other people's beliefs and calmly accenting our guiding principles. When you finally get the hang of it, being a believer can give you the dignity that you deserve. So those are the words of Rabbi Sherwin Wine. And I also want to say that there is a Humanistic Judaism movement here in Seattle. And if you check out their website, they have a lot of really good information about ethics and sort of like, you know, the stuff that they say, this is what we do believe, is pretty much, I think, what most people here at Seattle Atheist Church do believe, which is, you know, trying to be good and not appealing to anything supernatural as an explanation for cause or as something that we hope is going to save us without us having to do the work to change things, especially around social justice and things like that.